Sure. Thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. So what I do, I started my career really in a male-dominated world in banking, then in finance, and then from there oil and gas, and then IT, and then corporate education. And I have mentored many along the way. And in during the pandemic, I believe it was a shift for many people. And I am one such person where my priorities changed. And I felt that I wanted to help and do more for women rather than it just being a part of my job description. I wanted to do it full time. I wanted to commit fully to it. And during the pandemic, May of 2020 last year, I decided to do it full time. And here I am today.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
What is one thing that really clicked for you to do this specific? Because there's so many things to do out there, and maybe you're talented in many other areas. What particularly called you to this particular what you do with leveling women up?
I what called me is that through my 30 plus career years in the corporate world, as I said, I mentored many along the way. And the same questions kept coming up, the same issues, the same concerns. And I felt like there was a certain trend around those specific areas. And for me, there's so much information out there that a lot of times women in particular, and I speak about women because my programs do tend to focus on women. And there's so much information and so much confusion and conflicting information as well. I decided to pull my expertise together, my knowledge together, my experience together, not just in mentoring others, but in mentors that I have had in my own career path and put all of that information comprehensively into a single program. And it covers 9 life areas. And these across these 9 life areas, it takes a holistic approach to help women level up so that they can set a really, really strong foundation for themselves as they continue on their journey to personal transformation and professional development.
Wow, that's incredible. You mentioned a little bit before the call that you do have a free assessment that women can take online so they can find out, where they are in life and where they can be. Why don't you tell me? I'd love to learn a little bit more about that, like where you can take it, what does the assessment tell you, how long is the assessment, etc.
Sure. So the assessment, it asks various questions and it helps someone who takes it to discover we all have strengths and weaknesses. And it helps someone who takes it to discover across the 9 life areas where it helps your personal and professional development, which areas am I weaker in, or perhaps just need to pay more attention to, and which areas am I strong in. So it helps someone measure themselves across the 9 life areas. And then based on that result, someone can decide, you know what, even though I am strong in some areas, I don't feel confident. I want a program that helps me level up across all 9 life areas. Or perhaps I'm okay with a few of them, and there are others I think I just need that specific knowledge. There is a program for that as well. So it's really to help someone gain insight into where they are in their journey at this point in time.
That's incredible. Yeah, that sounds like an amazing assessment. How long does it take to go through the assessment?
Uh, 15 minutes. Once
Wow.
once you once you go to the website, the assessment is free. You sign up and you take the assessment, and it takes under 15 minutes for you to get the results.
Wow, that's incredible. So I'd
Yeah.
love for you to talk a little bit more about because I think leveling up for women, because you mentioned that you're in more male dominated spaces. And I think that's really interesting because you mentioned finance is one of them, and I'm in finance. So I totally understand that a lot of people around me, they're a lot older than me, and they're usually men. And I'm like, okay, it's totally fine. An 18-year-old little girl next to all of them. It's a little bit daunting, but I definitely I have no regrets with what I'm doing. So I can definitely understand that. What are some of the things that you focus on when women can level up, or maybe there's something small? Of course, not all of it. You don't want to spoil your whole everything, but is some a small tip that women can kind of start on, like once they finish the call, and they're like, okay, I want to do just a small step in the right direction.
I think it has a lot to do with knowing yourself. You know, what are you capable of? For some people, a small step can be a gigantic step in relation to others. Yeah, so it depends on quite a bit. And this is why I put the program together. Sorry about that. My phones are absolutely going off the hook today.
No worries.
So the program, it really helps just put a perspective on things. There is no one area. It's quite difficult to say, okay, there is this one tip, but it depends on completely on where you feel that you need that help. But what leveling up does is it gives you the confidence to navigate a space where perhaps you would feel intimidated, you would not stand up for yourself, you would not value what you bring to the table, because we all do. It doesn't matter if you're male, female, young or old, there's always value that you bring to the table. And many women out there do not feel that their value is seen or appreciated. And sometimes it is that way, but then there's sometimes as well that women themselves need to step up their game and say, look, you know, I do deserve that respect and I do deserve that promotion just as much as anyone else. So when I speak about leveling up, it's not only confidence, it shows you a lot about how to deal with situations, navigate a male dominated space. For instance, you asked for an example. What if you were to go into an interview or you were to go into a meeting? How would you handle if there is someone constantly speaking over you because they see you as junior? Those type of situations can be quite sensitive depending on the person that you're speaking to. Or someone who thinks, you know what, I don't care how I look, people will accept me for who I am. This is me. And yes, to a certain extent, that is true, but we live in a very visual world. And whether you like it or not, it's like gravity. If you jump, you will fall. When you are in a corporate world, in a professional environment, how you look and present yourself impacts the way people see you. That's just the reality of it. So it covers 9 areas. And if you permit me, the 9 areas very quickly, it deals with your personal development. It deals with your demeanor, how you act and present yourself, your personal style, your mental, physical, and emotional health. That's 3. And then the final 3 deals with your profession, how you progress in that, how you deal and manage your finances, and then your future vision, your outlook on your vision. So it really is holistic.
Sure. Well, that's so incredible. Thank you so much for sharing it. Thank you for sharing the 9 so people can understand a little bit more on what things that they can work on. And I liked how you mentioned, there's a lot of times when, you go into places and people just think, that they can just talk over you because maybe they don't see you as an equal, which I know a lot of women struggle with that. Like, oh, well, you don't want to like talk over them or like assert yourself because then you seem bossy. But then if you don't talk, then you're just kind of like being run over. And it's like, it's an equal balance that, you have to perfect, but over time, if you pay attention and you know what you're doing, then it can definitely be a little bit fixed, maybe not completely, but definitely a little bit better than before. So thank you so much for sharing. You shared so many great things, just kind of looking back, since maybe you were 17, is there anything that you'd say to either your younger self in the past or younger people in the future?
Yes, I would say that there's just so many lessons that I've learned over the years. One of the things for me I would say to myself is don't wait for the right time in life to do anything that you want to do. Start. It doesn't matter how small the step is, because sometimes a tiny step can be the opening you need to propel your life in ways you would not have imagined. And if you had not taken that small step, doors that were close to you could have been open to you if you had just taken that tiny step. And I always say to people and to women, because these are the people I speak with most, tiny, consistent, small steps create greatness. Don't underestimate the power of that single tiny step. And the first step is usually the hardest step to make. So just take that first step. Take the chance, do things correctly, of course. Don't don't just jump into a business, for example, if you haven't planned and saved enough to give yourself that leverage. I'm not saying do things blindly, but I'm saying don't wait for the perfect moment. There will never be the perfect moment to do and accomplish what you want in life. Just start.
Yes, of course. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today. You shared so much valuable information. I really appreciate it. I learned so much and I'm really excited. Why don't you, I know I'm going to put in the description a link on where people can go to get the assessment. Is there anywhere people can connect with you, either on social media, find a little bit more about you, and etc.?
Of course, everything is on the website. So the easiest way, I would say, rather than me spouting out LinkedIn, Facebook, and all of these things, is go to the website, and at the bottom there's a way to contact me there if required. But all of the information you need, including the assessment, all of the programs, the master classes to help you level up, is on the website. And I know you will put it in the description, but I'll just say it here. It's courses with an S, courses.achievementandexcellence.com. It's one word, achievementandexcellence.com. But as you said, it will be in the description. But if you want to get in contact with me, see what everything is about, just go to the website and you will have everything you need.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for the time that you've taken today. It's been such a pleasure and it's such an honor to talk to you for a few minutes.
My pleasure to speak with you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.